I think that it's a valued asset for the church. And the thing I loved about eSPACE was it was designed by people that worked in the church. Oh, Tyler, there's several things that come to mind is that I'm new to this job and this position is actually new. St. Luke's did not have a hired facility director for the past 60 years. And we've always used members as our property people. And every 4 years, we changed property people. And you can imagine that over 60 years of that, there is nothing documented. As I was new coming into St. Luke's, and my background is I retired from Intel Corporation and worked equipment management stuff for 30 years. But I came here to St. Luke's and all of a sudden we have a water leak and I'm like trying to figure out how to turn the water off. And they were smart enough and they put valves on every building so we can turn water off to individual buildings is eventually what I found out. But there's no documentation anywhere. And went out to turn the water off to the building once I found where it was. Couldn't move the valve. It had not been actuated for so many years. So now with eSPACE, we've set up a whole procedure. We had a plumber come out, change the valves and the location of the valves so it was easier to get to. We've labeled the valves and now we have a schedule to go actuate the valves and trying to keep that track of that. And I do this job part-time. For many years, it was 19 and a half hours a week. So trying to track all that stuff in those hours was difficult. So eSPACE has really helped us be able to track different things like that, maintenance on different things, HVAC systems, how old are they? And we've actually replaced all the HVAC systems in our Ed Wing, which is like 4 of them, because nobody knew that they were installed in 2012. So I've gone through and tracked all that within eSPACE. So just a variety of those type of situations coming into this position new of trying to just document what we have, when's the last PM that was done or preventive maintenance, sorry, Intel verbiage here, of when we've done work and when the next time we should look at stuff. And that's what the biggest gain for eSPACE has been with us in equipment wise. The documentation is the biggest thing. And if I work on something, creating a work order to track that, we found that we were doing a lot of work on one particular HVAC system. And we finally just said, just replace it. We're nickel and diming ourselves to death and nobody had documentation up to when I started doing this. So changing over to Pelican, thermostats also helped a lot. And eSPACE is the one that we talked to and Lee actually helped me walk through that and help me get that all fixed up. And that program and through eSPACE has helped us show where errors are that and air conditioning is limping along. And that's been very helpful. The biggest thing is the documentation and catching issues prior to, because we're using the work order forms that I can go back on those and see within the last couple of years of what work has been done. We have a 40-ton AC unit is a big one. We did a huge remodel 20 years ago. And as I was going through and labeling all the HVAC systems, putting them in eSPACE and logging that, we came back and found out we're not heating our lobby, and we don't use heat in Arizona except for a couple times a month, so nobody really worried about it. And as I was documenting all this stuff with eSPACE, realized there's something wrong here, and brought in the HVAC person and found out they forgot to hook it back up 20 years ago. So our heater is not been hooked up and it's gas. And we can't get the modules now because they're outdated. So we cannot even do that. So we're also in a big renovation here currently at St. Luke's. And part of that renovation is changing the whole 40-ton HVAC system, which is costing over $100,000. And trying to figure out, do we put a heater on it or not? We haven't used it for 20 years. So it actually made a decision for us to say, no, we're not going to put a heater and spend another 40 grand for a heater. I think that it's a valued asset for the church. And the thing I loved about eSPACE was it was designed by people that worked in the church. They understand church work. So I think it's just to do the entry level to try it for your church is huge, because how do you track what work you do? And that's been probably the biggest win for us, is having one central location, one-stop shop for all the work that's being done. And I'm actually putting a lot of the construction work in it as well, just so that it is that one-stop shop and win for us.